what's up?
Monica Lewinsky is a name that is forever etched into the fabric of American politics, not by choice, but by force. For decades, her name hasn't been just remembered. It's been turned into a punchline, a cautionary tale, a name that the American people will never forget. Like seriously, at this point, it holds so much cultural significance.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Molly and that whiskey, that's Monica Lewinsky.
Monica Lewinsky all on my gown.
If you ever watched Scandal, Monica's time at the White House was a real-life episode with a lot of twists, turns, and betrayal from the people she thought she could trust. It's unfortunate that she became the face of a political firestorm when most Gen Zers don't even know that she wasn't the first to allege an affair with Bill Clinton. She was just the one the world refused to forget. As a Gen Zer, I was always under the impression that Monica was the one to expose the affair. I thought it was a clear-cut situation where she had her relations with Bill, exposed it for a settlement and some fame, sold a book, and kept it pushing. But I was actually wrong. She wasn't the one to expose the affair. She may have talked about it with a few so-called friends, but for the most part, she kept it under wraps. Actually, she was so adamant to move on with her life that she signed an affidavit that basically denied the affair and was going to move to New York, leaving Washington, D.C. and Bill Clinton behind her. Well, thanks to fake friends,
Fuck a fake friend, where your real friends at?
she had her life flipped and turned upside down, all because of one woman, Linda Tripp. But before we get into that, let's talk about the many affairs of Bill Clinton and the scandal that led to the exposure of Monica's affair. Bill Clinton, as a president, was often referred to as the New Democrat. He was very charismatic and knew how to relate to the American people. He played the saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show, cracked jokes on late night TV, and leaned into pop culture before that became a common theme. He was able to make young voters and moderates love him. He was the modern family man. Both him and Hillary had an outstanding image in the political world. She was there every step of the way, from when he served as the Attorney General and Governor while she maintained her law career. Their union was a force to be reckoned with, so when he decided to run for president, he was considered a great candidate. It seemed like his presidency was going to run smoothly, that the American people were going to love him, until his first ever scandal crept its way into the headlines. A woman named Jennifer Flowers came out detailing a long 12-year affair that she had with Bill, whom she met while working as a news reporter.
Is denying allegations he carried on an extramarital affair with a former nightclub singer.
Yes, I was Bill Clinton's lover for 12 years. And for the past 2 years, I have lied to the press about our relationship to protect him.
Did Governor Clinton use a condom?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put this to a stop if there are any further questions that are degrading, in my opinion, like that. Now, right here.
It's a social issue, you know.
Right here.
Was there ever a threesome? Jennifer, will you be sleeping with
Right here.
Will you be sleeping with any other presidential candidates?
This revelation nearly destroyed his own campaign before it was set to take off. Not only did she host a press conference, but she revealed tapes she secretly recorded of Bill. The scandal sent shockwaves through the political world. Bill and Hillary tried to do damage control by doing a 60-minute interview, basically saying that Jennifer was paid to say she slept with Bill, that times were tough, and she was looking for money.
Who is Jennifer Flowers? You know her.
Oh, yes.
How do you know her? How would you describe your relationship?
Very limited, but until this, friendly, but limited. I met her in the late 70s when I was Attorney General, and she was one of a number of young people who were working for the television stations around Little Rock. And, the people in politics and the people in the media knew each other then, just as they do now. She left our state, and for years I didn't really hear from her and know what she was doing. And then she came back, sometime a few years ago, and went to work again in the state. So that's who she is.
Was she a friend, an acquaintance? Does your wife know her?
Oh, yes.
Sure.
She was an acquaintance, I would say a friendly acquaintance.
She's alleging, and is described in some detail in a supermarket tabloid, which she calls a 12-year affair with you.
That allegation is false. It was only when money came out, when the tabloid went down there offering people money to say that they had been involved with me, that she changed her story. There's a recession on, times are tough, and I think you can expect more and more of these stories as long as they're down there handing out money. This is a marriage. That's a very different thing.
You know, I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. I'm sitting here because I love him, and I respect him, and I honor what he's been through and what we've been through together.
On the back of the couch.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Woo.
Well, at the time,
Hillary stood by Bill throughout the interview. Her almost getting pummeled by a fan and openly admitting to marital issues actually worked out for the Clintons, and the expose didn't harm his campaign as he was able to win the presidency. So Bill is well into his presidency. The Clintons and the American people have moved on from the scandal until Paula Jones appears. In May 1991, Paula Jones was a 24-year-old Arkansas state employee. During a government-sponsored event at a hotel in Little Rock, she claimed that she was escorted to a private hotel room where the then governor Bill Clinton allegedly propositioned her. He exposed his ding-a-ling and asked her for oral sex. According to Paula, she fled the room in shock and embarrassment. She told a few people about the incident, but she mostly kept quiet about what went on with Bill, never trying to seek media coverage from the incident.
Well, he tried to pull me over and he put his hand up my leg. I mean, he jumped, you know, it was just real quick, and he tried to kiss on my neck, and he told me how he liked the way my curves were, and he liked the way my hair went down to the middle of my back. And then, I said, you know, don't do this, you know. I rejected it.
At that point, Ms. Jones, a lot of people wonder why you didn't just run out of the room, leave.
I was scared. I knew the state trooper was sitting outside, or I'm pretty sure he was sitting out there. And I was just very scared. He told me he knew my boss. This was the governor.
Jones claims that Mr. Clinton then exposed himself to her and explicitly requested she perform a sex act.
I was just shocked. I jumped up and I said, no, I'm not this kind of girl. I'm not that kind of girl. And he said, well, I don't want to make you do something you don't want to do.
What was his demeanor like?
Well, his face was very red. I remember it was beet red, and you could tell it. I don't know if he was embarrassed that I refused him or what, but he was just red as he could be.
Jones said Mr. Clinton told her to have her boss call him if she got in trouble for leaving her post downstairs. And then...
the last thing he said to me was, you're a smart girl, let's keep it between ourselves. And I left out the door.
Jones says she went downstairs and, distraught, immediately told her co-worker Pamela Blackard what happened. As the day progressed, she says she told her sister Charlotte Brown and another friend, Deborah Valentine.
Did any of the people you told advise you to file a complaint?
Debbie told me I need to report it to authorities. And I was scared. I'd lose my job.
Until a David Brock story in the American Spectator. This article by David was telling a story that a woman named Paula, not using her full name, gave Bill a blowjob. Again, even though they didn't use her full name, I think Paula was mostly worried that any investigators or people in the media would have put two and two together and accused her of being the woman in the story, even though she was. But she didn't want people to think that she gave Bill a blowjob. Bill's lawyers tried to get Paula's lawsuit thrown out by claiming that he had presidential immunity. A judge ruled that while Bill didn't have to stand trial right away, the investigation could still move forward. Paula appealed, and more importantly, it opened the door to deeper legal discovery, and that's where Monica Lewinsky comes in. Linda Tripp first began her government career during the George W. Bush administration, working as a White House staffer. When Bill took office in 1993, she managed to stay on briefly before being reassigned to a lower profile job in the Pentagon's Public Affairs Office. This position wasn't bad and didn't affect her pay, but she wasn't satisfied being away from the White House. It seemed like she had a slight vendetta against Bill for how he represented himself as an important figure, but also he was a womanizer who constantly cheated on his wife. So in retrospect, she possibly just didn't like President Clinton. Then getting demoted from the White House to the Pentagon gave her further ammo. Once she met Monica and found out about her relations to Bill, she got a bright idea, even if it meant Monica would get hurt in the process. Monica Lewinsky graduated from Lewis and Clark College. She landed an unpaid internship in the White House Chief of Staff's office. That November, the federal government shut down, and it played an unexpected role in placing Monica at the center of political history. The shutdown happened after a budget battle between Bill and the Republican-controlled Congress. There was disagreements over federal spending cuts, particularly around Medicare, education, public health, and environmental regulation. And 20 years later, what's new? So the Clinton administration refused to sign off on the budget that would slash key social programs. The government didn't reach an agreement and shut down. So Monica and other interns who were allowed to stay to keep working since they weren't being paid, of course, were moved into the West Wing to answer phones and run errands. So eventually, Bill and Monica became acquainted with each other. They started giving each other glances, and one thing led to another, and Monica hinted at Bill with her thong.
Realized the top inch or two of my, my underwear had showing, my thong underwear, and I thought, well, I'll up the game. I knew he was walking out of a room, and instead of pulling my trousers up, like I would have done in any other instance, I didn't. It was unnoticeable to everybody else in the room, but he noticed. Sometime shortly thereafter, I had gone to wash my hands and I was walking back to my desk. As I passed George Stephanopoulos' office, I kind of looked into the open doorway and Bill happened to be standing there, and he motioned.
They had their first sexual encounter on November 15th, and that was the beginning of their affair, which quickly transitioned Monica from being an unpaid intern to a paid staff position. Now, a lot of people in the office suspected that there was something going on with Bill and Monica. Over the next few months, Monica claimed that the two had 7 additional sexual encounters, all taking place inside the White House. Their meetings often occurred in private areas of the West Wing, including the Oval Office study, with Bill sometimes calling her in on quiet afternoons. And again, people who worked in the Oval didn't understand how Monica was moving up, nor did they understand her access to Bill. Monica admits she was absolutely smitten by Bill, purposely doing things or wearing certain outfits to get his attention.
It's new video of Monica Lewinsky and President Clinton at a party on the White House lawn in 1995. Lewinsky sure looks starstruck. She was hoping the sage-colored suit she was wearing.
Ran home at lunchtime and I put back on the sage green suit I had been wearing the day before when he paid attention to me. I thought, well, maybe he'll notice me again. Notice me, he did. He spent time and held my hand longer than he should have.
Eventually, their personal affairs became more serious and they were exchanging gifts to one another, with Bill giving over a dozen gifts to Monica, including a decorative pin that would later be brought up during their exposure, and Monica was more than willing to also give him gifts and try her best to make him happy. One of the most memorable moments for Monica during their affair was the day that Bill's secretary asked Monica to follow her into the Oval. Since there were already whispers in the office, his secretary hid in the dining room to give the illusion that Monica and Bill were not alone. During their encounter, that's where the infamous blue dress fiasco took place.
Betty Currie was the president's secretary. She brought me back into the Oval Office, and the 3 of us went into the back study, and she went into the dining room and hid there because the illusion to everyone else was that I was not alone with him. We moved to the bathroom and were more intimate. There was some attention paid on me, and then I was reciprocating, so that finished, and then I hugged him after, and he hugged me, and off I went. I didn't notice that the dress was soiled. Betty saw me as I left. I went to dinner that night. None of these people said to me, hey, you gotta go in the bathroom, you've got stuff all over your dress.
These continuous concerns reached senior officials. Deputy Chief of Staff Evelyn Lieberman took on the task to move Monica away from the president. She arranged for her to be transferred to the Pentagon. At first, it was framed as a promotion, but it was an attempt to stop a potential scandal from leaving the White House. And that's where Monica met Linda Tripp. When Monica met Linda, she became somewhat like a mentor to Monica. Mentor turned friend she could confide in, eventually spilling the small details about their affair to Linda. Linda, who already had issues with the Clintons, perked her ears about this news, and she eventually put two and two together on why Monica moved to the Pentagon. Linda then decided to contact Lucien Goldberg, an anti-Clinton conservative and a literary agent. She was the one that told Linda to go to Radio Shack, buy a recording device, and start recording her intimate calls with Monica.
We're getting up and I'm like, all right, I love you, butthead. I called him butthead.
You didn't.
I did.
And what did he say?
That was it. He just kind of hung up. I hung up. I was like, oh my God, what the hell just came out of my mouth?
Butthead.
We didn't have sex, Linda.
Well, what do you call it?
We fooled around.
Oh.
Sex?
I don't know. I think if you get to orgasm, that's having sex.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's not having...
Sex is having intercourse. But you know, I don't know, maybe I'm being an idiot. I don't want to have to work for this position. It needs to be given to me.
Right, you don't want to go through the whole interview process and you want to know that you have a position.
Right.
All right, so then maybe you want to stay secure.
I'd like to secure me in a position. If I ever want to have an affair with a married man again, especially these presidents, please shoot.
I promise you. I promise you. If you get out of this one alive and unharmed and sane and healthy.
Some of you have been just in the past few months and shut me out. I don't know why. Is it that you don't like me anymore, or are you scared? Please let me come see you this evening or Thursday night. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from you, no one else. I can't take it anymore.
I know. Oh my God.
Now back to the blue dress. So Linda finds out about that little cum stain on Monica's dress and convinced Monica to not dry clean the dress and keep it for just in case purposes. She even went as far as to tell her, hey girl, that dress makes you look fat. She called her fat. But either way, Monica listens to her little fake friend and she keeps the dress, never dry cleaning it. So the Paula Jones lawsuit is still going on and they find out about Monica. So Monica gets subpoenaed to testify about her affair with Bill. Behind the scenes, Bill was using his connections to get Monica a job in New York to work at Revlon. Bill was basically trying to keep Monica happy and out of his hair, and Monica was a willing participant and was open to leaving Washington for her new life in New York. Until Linda happened. So Linda hears that Monica signed an affidavit and lied on oath saying she did not have an affair with Bill, which is what prompted Bill to go and lie originally to the public about not having an affair with Monica multiple times.
Mr. President, welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
The news of this day is that Kenneth Starr, the independent counsel, is investigating allegations that you suborned perjury by encouraging a 24-year-old woman, former White House intern, to lie under oath in a civil deposition about her having had an affair with you. Mr. President, is that true?
That is not true. That is not true. I did not ask anyone to tell anything other than the truth. There is no improper relationship, and I intend to cooperate with this inquiry. But that is not true. But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Bill was comfortable lying because everything was set in motion. Monica signed the affidavit, she was going to go to New York, and the affair was over and done with. Everything was planned out, but Linda was not playing. She decided to send the tapes she recorded to the FBI. The FBI! Her name was also released in a series of articles that implicated Monica as a mistress. So Monica at this point was still taking advice from Linda, but she still doesn't know that Linda is betraying her. So she convinces her to turn in the dress over to Kenneth Starr's investigation, who is representing Paula Jones. After Monica signed an immunity agreement, a blood sample was taken from Bill.
Monica Lewinsky had a blue Gap dress in her closet, and that the dress had the president's seal on it.
The President's Council asked us to go to the White House 10 p.m. very secretively. It was just me and an FBI agent. I remember driving over there saying to myself, it's a shame that it has come to this. We're going to the White House in the dark of night to take a blood sample from the sitting President of the United States to compare with a stain on a dress of a 22-year-old.
Embarrassing. The media explodes with chaos, and Bill was a deer caught in headlights. He had no choice but to publicly come out admitting that he lied to the American people.
Damaging cloud is hanging over the White House this morning. CNN has confirmed that Whitewater counsel Kenneth Starr has been granted permission to expand his investigation. He will be looking into new allegations that President Clinton had an affair with a former White House intern and then urged her to lie about it.
It becomes clear he wasn't always telling the truth.
Over the years, there have been dramatic late-night speeches from the White House, national tragedies and national triumphs, but nothing like the speech that we're about to hear from there tonight.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible. I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that.
That's where the 90s took us. The President of the United States had to testify under oath about a woman in the Oval Office.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
With that emphasis and that anger and that emotion, he must be telling the truth, right?
Were you shocked when you heard about Monica?
Yeah, and I was glad too because I was thinking, well, good, this is going to, show people that I'm not just making this up and it's still happening right now, even in the Oval Office, our house, the people's house.
Now, Hillary is sticking by her man like Tammy Wynette and accused the allegations of being a smear campaign from the right-wing media.
President Clinton yesterday, his wife, First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, candidly answered questions with NBC's Matt Lauer on the Today Show this morning. She wasted no time in slamming Special Prosecutor Kenneth Starr, accusing him of being behind the allegations that have rocked the presidency.
We get a politically motivated prosecutor who is allied with the right-wing opponents of my husband, who has literally spent 4 years looking at every telephone...
$30 million.
More than that now, but looking at every telephone call we've made, every check we've ever written, scratching for dirt, intimidating witnesses, doing everything possible to try to make some accusation against my husband.
Nearly 6 years ago, Clinton admitted that he had caused pain in their marriage, referring to the affair he had with Jennifer Flowers.
If he were to be asked today, Mrs. Clinton, do you think he would admit that he again has caused pain in this marriage?
No, absolutely not. And he shouldn't.
There was a lot at stake for the Clintons because Bill was facing a lot of media scrutiny, and for the sake of Bill and Hillary's political career, Hillary needed to stick by his side and also face his media firestorm as his wife. Right after getting the green light to investigate the Monica and Bill scandal, Ken Starr, Paula's team, moved fast. They used Linda, Monica's fake-ass friend, to set her up. Linda invited Monica to lunch at the Pentagon City Mall, just like it was any other day. But when Monica showed up, FBI agents swooped in. She was literally swarmed by a team of FBI agents. They took her to a hotel at the Ritz-Carlton where prosecutors were waiting. And then there was Linda, sitting right there, finally revealing herself as the one who betrayed her. Monica immediately knew what happened, snapping at the prosecutors, saying, "Make her stay and watch. I want that treacherous bitch to see what she's done to me." The whole thing was orchestrated so Starr's team could pressure Monica into cooperating before Clinton's deposition in the Paula Jones case the very next day. They even rented Linda a hotel room nearby so she could relay every detail to Paula's lawyers in real time. The prosecutors wasted no time in turning up the pressure. They told her that she could face up to 27 years in prison for things like perjury and obstruction of justice. It sounded terrifying, but they were literally lying to her. The real maximum would have been closer to 2 years, maybe less, but in that moment, Monica didn't know that. The threat was meant to scare her into cooperating. For 11 hours straight, the prosecutors hammered her with one goal: get Monica to wear a hidden wire, go back to the White House, and secretly record conversations with the president. But Monica refused. She wouldn't spy on the president, and she wouldn't trap him the same way she had just been trapped, which makes Bill a very lucky man, because if Monica had agreed to wear the wire, it would have been the smoking gun that forced Bill Clinton out of office. After the sting operation, Linda was called to testify before the grand jury and forced to explain why she secretly recorded Monica's most personal confessions. The legal system wanted her account, but the court of public opinion had already reached its verdict. Linda wasn't seen as a patriot or a truth teller. She was branded as the ultimate backstabbing friend, a woman who weaponized another woman's trust for political gain. The media went after her relentlessly. Late night hosts turned her into a nightly punchline. Saturday Night Live parodied her appearance and voice. Talk shows painted her as a conniving and self-serving woman. Tabloids splashed unflattering paparazzi shots across their covers with captions like "The woman who betrayed Monica." The public reaction was harsh. Hate mail poured in by the bag, calling her every name imaginable. She received death threats, her home phone rang with anonymous calls in the middle of the night, neighbors avoided her, friends distanced themselves. In a matter of weeks, Linda Tripp became one of the most recognizable and most despised women in America.
Patriotic duty to ensure that people knew. I would have wanted to know.
Linda Tripp, she nearly brought down the president when she helped to expose his affair with Monica Lewinsky, but she says now that the White House and Pentagon took their revenge by dragging her name through the mud and exposing her to public humiliation. And now she's suing for damages. Linda Tripp, does she have a case?
Linda truly believed it was her civic duty to expose the affair, while Monica was going on press runs to try and clear her name. Monica was being as truthful as she could to the press. She went on multiple interviews addressing the claims, and what most people don't realize is that in the early years of Monica addressing Bill, she always speaks about having a deep relationship and being in love. Monica was an adult, yes, but also young and impressionable. Everyone was questioning, why are you in love? And it was because their affair wasn't just a 1-2 time thing like most people believe. It went on for a few years. And during those few years, she grew deep feelings for Bill, while Bill was married and continued to have a fling with a 20-something-year-old woman.
He gave as much as he took? There's no other way to put it.
It was a mutual relationship. It was a mutual physical relationship and emotional. And
so if he was satisfied, you were satisfied. It was
yes.
You never felt like I am some sort of slave to this.
No.
Did he lead people to think that? I mean, there was only the two of you there.
I have had to deal with a lot of difficult emotional feelings of that. And hurt, I think, because I do believe that's what he tried to lead people to believe.
It would hurt me.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. You deal with the pain of someone saying publicly, listen, yeah, it happened, but she was servicing me.
Right, and I think that was, for a woman, that's incredibly degrading.
Monica did what she could do to capitalize off the situation for income. Imagine this, with the many women who came out saying that they had a fling with Bill Clinton, you become the most sensationalized figure in the world. Your name is a name that gets embedded in history. She faces scrutiny from all faces of the media, music, television. She can no longer have a regular life without people knowing her history. She could have changed her name, but then again, the damage is already done. She became the scapegoat for Bill, even though he faced consequences for lying to the American people. Bill became the second president in history to be impeached for perjury, lying under oath about his relationship with Monica, and obstruction of justice, allegedly using his power to cover it up. But even that couldn't deter his political career. Sure, he had a few jokes in the air, but as a president, it didn't stop his motion. He is still considered one of the best presidents in history, depending on who you're talking to. If that situation happened today, Monica would have received a different treatment in the media. In the midst of the Me Too movement and society being less critical of women, while truly understanding how power dynamics influence relationships, people have opened their eyes and realized the judgment Monica faced by the media may have been a little too harsh.
Nobody thinks I'm taking a risk. That's not why people do stupid things.
This morning, former President Bill Clinton opening up about one of the most infamous scandals in presidential history.
I feel terrible about the fact that Monica Lewinsky's life was defined by it, unfairly, I think. You know, over the years, I've watched her trying to get a normal life back again. But you got to decide how to define normal.
Instead of a Letterman punchline.
Now, I started to feel bad because myself and other people with shows like this made relentless jokes about the poor woman.
Yes.
And she was a kid. She was 21, 22
Yeah,
or something.
she's 40 now.
I feel bad about my role in helping push the humiliation to the point of suffocation.
Number one possible first line for Monica Lewinsky's new book, Me and My Big Mouth. You have to feel sorry a little bit for Monica Lewinsky because, you know, she's a kid, just a kid right out of college, you know, looking for a good job at the White House. And apparently so was Clinton. So you have to...
We have to understand that yes, Monica was able to profit from this because at the end of the day, how was she gonna make a living? She had to accept this piece of her history because she had no other choice. She says she had trouble getting jobs, which isn't too far-fetched since everyone knows her name. She turned down lucrative offers for tell-alls because they didn't feel like the right thing to do and survived off loans from family and friends. She even had thoughts, and her mother feared that she would be literally humiliated to death.
And bury the blue dress. She takes responsibility. She says, I myself deeply regret what happened between me and President Clinton. She says, let me say it again. I, period, myself, period, deeply regret what happened. And how does she actually see this relationship with the president? She goes on to talk about it. She says, sure, my boss took advantage of me, but I will always remain firm on this point. It was a consensual relationship. Any abuse came in the aftermath when I was made a scapegoat in order to protect his powerful position. The Clinton administration, the special prosecutor's minions, the political operatives on both sides of the aisle, and the media were able to brand me. And that brand stuck in part because it was imbued with power.
Monica Lewinsky will forever be remembered in history as that intern. And the bright side of everything is the culture moving away from shaming women and acknowledging that although the relationship was mutual, she was still a scapegoat to clear the president's wrongdoings. Let me know what you guys think down below about Monica Lewinsky and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Toodles.